The ending of Here the Whole Time is about Felipe learning that he doesn't need to become someone else to be worthy of love. When the story begins, Felipe built his entire identity around what other people think of him. Years of bullying convinced him that his body is the main reason nobody could ever love him. Because of that, he spends most of his time hiding in his room and imagining that his life could only become a romantic comedy if he transformed into a different person. Then Caio arrives. At first, Felipe sees Caio as the last person he wants to spend his vacation with. But the 15 days they spend together change Felipe's perspective. Caio isn't the stereotypical person Felipe imagined him to be. He's kind, insecure, protective, funny, and struggling with his own fears about being gay and living up to his family's expectations. As Felipe gets closer to Caio, he also begins confronting his own sexuality and realizes that his feelings for Caio are much stronger than friendship. But there is a problem. Felipe doesn't believe someone like Caio could love him. That's why Felipe becomes obsessed with losing weight. He sees the skinny boys Caio liked on social media and assumes that they represent the kind of person Caio wants. Instead of asking whether Caio likes him, Felipe decides that he has to change himself first. This is why the relationship with Caio becomes so important to Felipe's overall journey. Caio doesn't magically fix Felipe's insecurities, but being around him forces Felipe to realize that his life cannot be controlled by the opinions of other people. Their relationship finally falls apart at Bika's party when Felipe sees Caio kiss Dennis. From Felipe's perspective, it looks like proof of his worst fear. Caio chose someone else, and that someone is the kind of skinny boy Felipe believes he could never compete with. But Caio insists that he thought he was kissing Felipe. Whether or not Felipe is ready to believe him at that moment, the incident exposes how much insecurity has been controlling their relationship. Felipe also finally admits how difficult it is for him to be openly gay. He's already spent years being mocked because of his appearance, and coming out feels like exposing himself to another reason for people to judge him. So when Caio disappears after the party, Felipe has to make a choice. He could go back to his old life, hide in his room, protect himself from rejection, and pretend none of this happened. Instead, he goes after Caio. Caio decided to leave home and go to Sao Paulo, where he has an aunt. He believes running away is the only way to escape the pressure from his parents and finally live as himself. But Felipe understands something that Caio doesn't. Running away won't solve the problem. Felipe finds him at the bus stop and tells him that Caio changed his life. Before these 15 days, Felipe was terrified of other people's opinions and barely participated in his own life. Now, because of Caio, he's willing to take a risk. And Felipe doesn't ask Caio to stay because he wants to possess him or force him to be his boyfriend. He tells him that he wants him to stay. That's enough for Caio to kiss him. When Caio's parents arrive, he finally stops hiding. He tells them that he and Felipe are dating and makes it clear that his sexuality isn't something he has become, this is who he's always been. His mother struggles with the revelation because she's afraid of what the world might do to her son. But his father asks the question that matters most. Is Caio happy? When Caio says yes, his father accepts him. Sandra isn't able to process everything, but Caio promises that he won't run away again. Instead of disappearing, he's finally choosing to confront his family honestly. The final assignment from Felipe's therapist, Olivia, is one of the most important parts of the ending. Felipe has to list the 15 things he learned during the 15 days he spent with Caio. At first, the list sounds almost silly. He learned that he likes talking with Caio, watching television with him, dancing, spending time with friends, wearing certain clothes, and even getting drunk on persimmon liquor. But underneath those ordinary observations is something much bigger. Felipe has learned how to live. At the beginning, he wanted the entire vacation to himself because being alone felt safer. He imagined spending his days playing video games, reading manga, and watching movies. By the end, he discovered that he actually likes being around people. He likes having friends, he likes dancing, he likes asking for hugs when he's struggling. He learned that he can stand up for himself without becoming cruel, and that being vulnerable doesn't make him weak. Most importantly, he learned that he can be loved without first becoming someone else. That's why his final confession to Caio is so significant. He tells him, "You are everything I want and more." Felipe isn't saying that Caio rescued him. He's saying that, after spending 15 days getting to know him, he discovered what he actually wants and is finally confident enough to say it. The final jump into the pool brings Felipe's story full circle. At the beginning, Felipe talks about how much he used to love water as a child. Swimming represented something joyful and carefree before his insecurities and bullying took over his life. By the end, he willingly jumps back into the pool with Caio. This time, he isn't worrying about how his body looks or what anyone might think. He's simply enjoying himself. The pool, therefore, becomes a symbol of Felipe reclaiming the part of himself he lost. The boy who once loved swimming hasn't disappeared. He's been there the whole time, buried underneath years of shame and insecurity. And that's also the meaning behind the title, Here the Whole Time. Felipe spends much of the story believing that happiness, confidence, and love are somewhere outside of himself. He thinks he needs to lose weight, become more attractive, or somehow transform into another version of himself before he can have the life he wants. But the ending reveals that the person he was looking for was already there the whole time. He didn't need a different body to deserve love. He didn't need to become someone else to be confident. And he didn't need to wait until he was fixed before allowing himself to live. After 15 days, Felipe hasn't magically solved every insecurity he has, but he's taken the first and most important step. He stopped letting those insecurities decide what his life will look like. The story ends with Felipe and Caio together, laughing and jumping into the pool, a simple moment that represents everything Felipe gained: love, friendship, acceptance, confidence, and most importantly, the courage to finally be himself.